Thank you for listening to this PodcastOne Sportsnet production, available on Apple Podcasts and PodcastOne.
The following program is a PodcastOne.com production. He started in a small town in Texas. Worked his ass off to become one of the most famous wrestlers of all time.
We're going to take care of business tonight, and that's the bottom line.
And now he's dominating the world of on-demand audio. And he's doing it for the working man.
This is a damn good outlet for me to spew the bullshit off my brain.
Yeah! This is the Steve Austin Show. Unleashed.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Steve Austin Show. I am coming to you from the mean streets of Los Angeles, California today. I'm sitting here in my office at 316 Gimmick Street. My guest today, my old buddy, Mark Bell from Super Training Gym over there in Sacramento, California, the strongest gym in the West. Mark stopped by a couple of weeks ago, and we had a great conversation. Mark is training for all you lifters out there, people who go to the gym, whether you're bodybuilding or powerlifting. He's training to do a 600-pound raw bench this November. He's going to tell us what he's doing to prepare and why he's going for this record press. We also got the lowdown on some nutrition tips, lifting tips, and some thoughts on doping in professional sports. As Mark Bell and I shooting the breeze. Hey, gang, as far as what's going on right now, let me turn my thoughts over there to the great state of Louisiana. God dang, man, my thoughts are with everybody out there. I think over 30 or 40,000 people have been rescued or relocated. There's been so many deaths out there with the flooding. I'll tell you what, I got nothing but good things to say about Louisiana. I love New Orleans. I love all those little towns through there. During my days playing junior college football at Wharton County Junior College and over there at the Mean Green at North Texas State University, I played at least 5 or 6 or 7 of those colleges over in Louisiana. In my professional wrestling career, I've wrestled in so many of the big towns and little bitty towns out there. Hell, I remember when I was still with World Class Championship wrestling right out of Louisiana in Cutoff, Louisiana, and have an alligator tail served up by one of the wrestlers who was local to the state. But, man, I tell you what, my thoughts with you guys. I hope everything ends up turning out okay. I mean, people have lost their lives, their houses, everything they own. So, man, I tell you what, I just send my thoughts out there, and hopefully this rain or the rivers or everything, whatever, will crest and start come down. When you get that much water, it's not like it's an overnight thing that just all of a sudden it goes away. So seeing all this stuff on the news, and it's something rough to watch. So hang in there is the best thing I can say, and I feel for you. And God dang, there's headaches, hassles, and horseshit out there. It's a great state, but y'all getting smoked by that water. My thoughts. Hey, man, I tell you what, I got a couple little issues going on in my house right now. Nothing that compares to the devastation of Louisiana. But a couple of months ago, actually about 6 or 8 months ago, I noticed that my floor in my damn kitchen was popping up. I got a wood floor in there, and there's a big old hump in it. And it started off, we had a rug on it, and so I figured, man, the floor just kind of got a hump in it. I don't know what's wrong with it. We just kind of watch it and let it go. And, man, that damn hump got so damn big, finally I pulled the carpet up off that damn thing. And, man, our floor's all jacked up. So I called a contractor, or my wife did, and the contractor came over and he said, man, by looking at that floor, it must be some water damage underneath or have some water that popped that floor up the way it's acting. And so we got 3 crawl spaces underneath our house. And my big ass is way too big to try to get up underneath that house and look around. And here's the thing. First of all, I'm too big to get through the crawl space. Second of all, I wouldn't know what to look for. I'm not a contractor. I ain't a builder. I don't know shit about the underneath part of a house. So if I saw the problem, I don't know if I could be able to describe it or spot it and describe it to detail. So my big ass can't get up underneath there. And number 3, first and foremost, I'm claustrophobic as hell. This guy came over with a little gimmick hazmat suit, kind of like a little plastic suit he put over his clothes. put some gloves on, some knee pads on. He had himself a good light, and he went into one crawl space right there by the doggy door. That one I tried to squeeze in a long time ago and lock myself out of the house. And he could only see a certain part of the house at that location, and that's where the floor was buckled up. Then he went over to the other side of the house where I got those other 2 crawl spaces, and he crawled all the way, what's that, Kristen, 40 yards, 30 yards?
At least.
Whatever. Our house ain't that big, but it looks that big when you're sitting in here because it ain't just a couple of feet. It's a long-ass crawl. And he had to go under some different posts and beams. There's wires down there. So I told him, I said, dude, you ain't claustrophobic? He goes, normally I'm not, but I got trapped underneath the house one time, and I had to close my eyes and start doing some deep breathing techniques just to try to relax. Now, this is an older gentleman. I'd say he's at least 70, 72, and he's spry as hell. He knows what he's talking about. He's been a contractor forever. But I'll tell you what, y'all heard my story when I tried to get in that MRI tube a couple months ago, and I tried all those deep breathing techniques and all that stuff, and hell, I had to push the eject button. My ass wasn't staying in that damn tube. So I can only shudder to think what my big ass would have done had I got up underneath that house and got stuck. And I told the guy when he got up underneath there, right before he left, when his feet was going out of that crawl space on the outside, I said, hey, man, I said, this is a dumb question, but do you want to take your phone with you? In case you get in trouble, you can call me. And he goes, no, I got this light. I'll be okay. Well, he came up underneath there finally after about 20, 30 minutes, and he goes, I started thinking about it. You're probably right about taking that iPhone with me, because if my flashlight, he had this badass industrial flashlight, but if my flashlight had burned out, I didn't have any light to see my way back. So anyway, I always just figured anyway, if got in a bind, he could call me because I probably couldn't hear his ass yelling up underneath there to call 911 to get some firefighters to pull his ass out from underneath my house. Anyway, he crawled up underneath the house, wasn't able to make really any kind of determination, and then we had a floor lady come over this morning. And she saw that damn floor buckled up like it was, and she goes, y'all got a water leak somewhere. So we started going through the damn pace.
It's a small buckle. It's like there's a monster coming out of the ground.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and now all of a sudden now my illustrious wife, Kristen, wants to chip in on the damn podcast when I'm not telling the story good enough. Now, when I say there's a little hump in our floor, it's like someone got a floor jack underneath there, and it's about a 8-foot hump, and it's damn near a foot tall. And then there's starting to be some mini humps alongside the big hump. So that hump, from start to finish, if you measure, is 8 feet long. No, it ain't 8 feet tall. Shit, my damn wife is crazy. You ain't been smoking on that medicinal marijuana, have you? My wife doesn't smoke dope, and neither do I. But anyway, back to the damn floor. So anyway, we got a floor guy, or the dude that came over and crawled underneath the house. He's gonna come over and start tearing out the floor, and I'm like, well, god damn. Now he's going to fuck my floor up, and we're going to have to either just replace part of it. It's going to look like shit, or get a bid to replace all of it, so make it all look the same. And hell, we didn't like the way the floor looked anyway. But, I wasn't just going to change out the floor just because I didn't like it. All I'm doing is walking on a damn thing. So we got that going on. Other than that, there's a tree in front of my house, and right underneath that tree sits my 95 Ford Bronco. And when I'm driving my other ride around, my Bronco sits up underneath that tree. And there's a bunch of birds shitting on my Bronco. And it ain't just the bird shitting on my Bronco. That tree drops off all kinds of droppings. That tree don't make acorns, but it's dropping twigs and leaves and shit down beneath my hood.
The birds are in there.
I know the birds are shitting, but L.A. in general, you just can't let something sit on the side of the street. It'll get dirty. You go to the car wash, you come out the car wash, if you just leave your car sitting on the street, in 5 days it'll be dirty again from all the smog and horse shit up over here.
Well, we have a bad fire going on right now.
Well, we got a bad fire. Oh, yeah, man, there's some ashes coming over here through here in the city. Hey, man, they caught a damn guy, the arsonist, who started one of these California wildfires out here. And I think it's about multiple accounts on him. We got 12, 13, 14 accounts on him. They arrested his ass for arson. So I don't know what the penalty is for arson, but they need to lock that sumbitch in jail and throw away the key. Hell, it destroyed over, how many homes, Kristen? Over 300 homes? Well, that's a crazy amount by fire. by some dude that has some kind of issue that he's got to light a bunch of shit on fire and just watch it burn. You know, when Mother Nature, like it's decimating Louisiana right now, that's Mother Nature, and sometimes you just can't beat her. But this fucking idiot goes out there and starts a fire, and no telling how many animals were lost. There's a couple of people killed, and everybody lost their houses. So, man, there's a lot of calamity going on over here. So it's... I don't understand about the arsonist bullshit either. But again, before I get on with the podcast here, man, again, I give my thoughts out to everybody in Louisiana. I'm telling you about my little bitty floor problems over here, but you guys are dealing with losing lives your whole life, your houses and all that stuff. So, god dang, hang in there. Hey, but before we get to Mark Bell, I need to give some big ups to my close personal friend and longtime sponsor, the Steve Austin Show, Diamond Dallas Page, and his DDP Yoga. Y'all know that DDP Yoga has changed thousands of lives, including the lives of some of your favorite pro wrestlers. Guys like Jake the Snake, Scott Hall, Mick Foley, AJ Styles, and he's still tearing it up. Chris Jericho, he's still tearing it up. And they all swear by DDP Yoga. And now DDP has taken his life-changing program to a whole nother level with the DDP Yoga Now app, which you can get for both iOS and Android devices. So now you ain't got no more excuses about why you can't start DDP Yoga. The app means you can do it anytime, anywhere. And the cool thing about the app is that you can track more than just DDP Yoga workouts. By connecting to a Bluetooth heart rate monitor, you can track your calories and heart rate in real time. You can track your pain, measurements, and progress photos too, all for free in the app. You've got tons of workouts to choose from. You've got the original DDP Yoga workouts, the new 2.0 workouts, and weekly live workouts from the DDP Yoga Performance Center. And I know DDP is real proud of these workouts that he's put together. These things are game changers. And DDP even hosts a gluten-free, dairy-free cooking show with all kinds of surprise guests. So get your workout on, get your healthy cooking going on, and get on the DDP Yoga program using the DDP Yoga Now app. And to make it even easier than he's already made it for a limited time, you can get the DDP Yoga DVDs for 20% off, plus 3 months of full access to the DDP Yoga Now app. Just go to ddpyoga.com/Austin. That's ddpyoga.com/Austin to take advantage of this great deal. Commit now. Change your life now. Go to ddpyoga.com/Austin to get started. Hell, I'm Rolling Sound. I'm here at 316 Gimmick Street. Mark Bell, Smelly Bell.
What the hell is going on?
God damn it, I'm trying to get my introduction in. You gonna let me get my shit in? You're just gonna come in here like a jabroni and start trying to fucking do high spots.
I'm thirsty, and I needed some water, so
here's what happens. Fucking Mark Bell comes in for the CrossFit Games. I didn't know the CrossFit Games were going on. Here's the thing, Mark. I run the toughest show on television. It's called the Broken Skull Challenge. Steve Austin's Broken Skull Challenge. You'd think that I would see fit to know that the CrossFit Games are on, but no. Nobody told me a goddamn thing.
You think they're not advertising
well enough.
So you're
in town down here from Sacramento to go check out the CrossFit Games. You jacked up. You're heading for a 600-pound bench.
That's right.
I'm staring right across the table. I got my eyes locked on one of the strongest men in the United States.
This table might get flipped over, ladies and gentlemen.
Fuck this table. The man's got a tank top on that says jacked and tan. Mark, you running late. Goddamn, you supposed to be here 30 minutes ago.
I know, son of a bitch. A lot of traffic. Believe it or not,
that's one of the pitfalls about traffic. You got this kind of traffic in Sacramento?
No, we don't have anything like this at all.
I need to get in my RV, go out there and check it out, because I've been telling my wife, I don't know how much more of this shit I can take.
Yeah.
I'm on edge. I went up to the LBC yesterday and had a pretty easy time talking to Fluffy and C.T. Fletcher, our mutual friend. Have you seen him lately?
C.T. Fletcher, man, his arms are still over 20 inches.
Oh, easy.
I mean,
he's pushing 21 because he makes me feel like shit.
Yeah, they just look like giant flapjacks stuck on his body. Big old ass arms.
I got stuck.
He's still strong too.
Yeah, he's still strong. I saw a session where Michael Hearn went down there and trained arms with him.
Michael Trend, they call him.
Speaking of Michael Hearn, hey, Michael Hearn is a mutual friend. But this just came in. I want you to watch this video. He just put it out on Twitter. Watch that. Mike's doing standing military press. He's calling it a push press.
He's so damn strong.
That's a standing military for me because it's behind the neck. And he's doing about 10 reps. He's using some legs there, but I don't give a shit. That's just that's a push press. That's a shit pile of weight for about
He
10
said he's
reps.
trying to catch up with superstars like Goldberg, Steve Austin, and Kevin Nash.
Dude, I got a torn rotator cuff, and when I didn't, I'd be squatting reps with 315, but a push press with 315 was just out of the question.
So Michael Hearn, I don't know if you're aware of this, but he cut a promo on me, a very small one, about a minute long or so on Instagram.
Really?
And he said, Smelly Bell, I'm coming up to Super Training Gym, and I'm coming after your numbers. So I asked my brother, I said, should I cut a promo on him in response? And so I did one, and I went on for like 9 minutes. I talked about his toupee and his makeup and so on, and I think he got his feelings hurt. And then he texted me, he's like, I think this whole thing backfired on us. He's like, I don't think we should do it anymore. But really what happened is the thing flared up and people loved it. I think he might have just kind of took it the wrong way. What ended up happening.
Are you here on the Steve Austin show to make apologies?
Yeah.
Sorry to Michael Hearn. He's a good dude.
No, I'm not apologizing for nothing. I still want to square off with the guy. Come on, let's just do it.
Okay, well, y'all going to need a special referee down there.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm
See?
my judging outfit. I'm having my green light, red light.
Yeah, are you going to call it right down the line, or are you going to be impartial? I mean,
I call everything right down the line.
I don't know about it.
Speaking of Goldberg, when he was in with Lesnar back in UFC, back in WrestleMania 20, I guess was in the Garden. I don't even remember. There's been so many years ago. I've been hitting that with so many steel chairs, but I refereed their illustrious match right down the middle.
Right down the
And
middle.
it was a clusterfuck because neither guy wanted to be there. Both guys were leaving the territory. Both guys are friends of mine. But it was just fucked up being in front of 20,000 large. And, I used to own the Garden, man. That was one of my favorite places to work. I was super over. If you get in front of a Garden crowd, and then all of a sudden you're out there stinking it up. Not so fun. But back to you. When you walked in, Mark, late, as I might add, with your young friend here from
Will.
Super Training Gym. I know Will. Goddamn, I know his middle name, his last name. I almost
John.
didn't let him in here. I run a goddamn tight ship here, Mark. I just can't let every goddamn Joe Blow in here.
You almost didn't let him in.
All right, call Ticketmaster. I'm selling tickets now to the podcast.
You almost didn't let him in. It was close.
I was fucking with him. He's a good kid. Hey, I showed you my Ford Focus out there on the curb, did I not?
It's a beauty.
What color is it?
It's green.
Okay, it's metallic P, just like the fucking little SUV in Chevy Chase's Vacation. So anyway, I go out there, I'm walking the streets, I'm walking my dogs, and right now I think Moolah might have a torn ACL. We're going to see how she kind of screwed
Somebody
it up playing by the
stuck her in
swimming
a
pool.
goddamn figure 4 leg lock.
God damn, it wasn't me. If it was, I had too much to keep.
Probably Ric Flair's
Back
dog.
to the Ford Focus. I get this card. What does that card say on it, Mark?
Oh, this is very insulting.
You goddamn right, it's
We buy junk cars? I mean, what?
Yeah, we buy junk cars. Now, Mark, ask you an objective question here. Did that look like a piece of shit to you? Be honest with me. You asking me how I'm going to call this match between you and O'Hearn? Did that look like a junk car to you?
It looks like a great car. It looks like a fantastic car to get you from point A to point C.
Did you see my white and silver Bronco out there? Because I get these same cards underneath the windshield wipers of that classic motherfucker. It's got 40,000.
I thought you borrowed that from O.J. Simpson.
No, fuck O.J. He's the one that ruined the goddamn Bronco. I might paint that son of a bitch because he tainted the Bronco's image. Son of a bitch. Did you watch the People vs. O.J.?
I did. I watched all that stuff. It was good.
Shocking.
It was
Absolutely shocking.
It was unbelievable.
This is the Unleashed podcast, but I won't go into details.
Right.
So tell me about this newest endeavor you decided to undertake, because last time you were here, 260?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit less. You look great.
About 255, 260, yeah.
Okay. Low body fat.
Quote, unquote, retired from powerlifting.
Yeah, and I always, I'm hearing you tell me this because, I've been around the horn a few times.
That's like you, retired from the wrestling ring. It's not going to ever happen.
I'm retired.
No, I know, but you're still getting in there every once in a while.
No, I am. I'm
busting somebody's chops here or there every once in a while.
But so now, why now the sudden desire to bench press 600 pounds? And this is going to be a raw attempt?
Yeah, so what happened is last November, I went for a 600-pound bench. I did a bench-only meet. I benched 535 for the opening attempt, threw the damn weight through the ceiling, then did 578, crushed that as well. That was a 22-pound lifetime PR. I've been lifting since I was 12, so you do the math. I'm 39 now, so been lifting for a long time. So to get a 22-pound PR is great, but that wasn't what I came to do. I came to bench 600 pounds. I went up against 600 pounds, me versus 600 pounds, and 600 pounds won, and it tore my pec. And so here I am trying it again in November again.
Talk to me about the pec tear. How substantial was it? Because, I mean, obviously you probably didn't have any surgery or suture work.
Yeah, no, I didn't have to have surgery on it.
Now, does that come into play under the psyche of, all of a sudden,
if I
putting weight on that bar?
If I blew it off and I needed surgery, I probably would not be trying to attempt it now.
So you're
yes,
now.
it fucks with you big time.
Because you just quadrupled 520. Was that what I heard you say?
Yep. Yeah,
520 for 4.
Yeah, 520.
How'd that fourth one go up?
Good. Yeah, they all went really smooth. I did 520 for 4. I did 495 for 5. All the weights are moving good. I'm a rep ahead of where I was the last training cycle when I did 578. So all the numbers kind of indicate that a 600-pound bench is going to happen, but it's a matter of doing it on fucking game day.
Who you been training with for this goal, and have you consulted anybody else? Or I know you're an expert. You've been doing this your whole life. Have you talked to anybody? Have you changed technique?
Yeah.
What?
I consult with the smartest person that I know about powerlifting.
Am I looking at him?
You're looking at him right now. I consult with, actually, I run some ideas by my training partners as well. I got Thurman Merman and I got Filipino Thunder who train with me every week. And we come up with a 3-week training cycle. And then after those 3 weeks, we always do what we call deload, which is basically just sometimes not training at all, which is kind of nice. Or sometimes it's just going in and doing some reps with something light, 50-60% of our max.
How do you feel on a deload? Does that fuck with your head? Because
we hate it.
Because like we just lighten up and you go, it's rest, but it's active rest.
Yeah,
does just a layoff or just days out of the gym fuck your head up because you know you should be in there banging, but your body needs a rest. So you got to take the mental part away from the other part.
If somebody's going to tell you, if they're going to assure you that something's going to be better for you, then you have to just trust it. And I know that the system works. Every time we pull back a little bit, we're able to go that much further ahead. So why not just trust it? Even somebody sometimes saying, somebody on a diet, they'll say, here, just next 2-3 days, just cheat, eat whatever you want. You kind of need that break mentally. Yeah. And so you got to just kind of trust in the system. And so we trust the system. It does suck because we want to keep training. But that's where something like the slingshot will come in. We'll throw the slingshot on and we'll train with that. We'll still able to train heavy, but it's taking a lot of pressure off the shoulders and elbows and stuff like that.
So you still feel the weight, and it comes up lighter because of the spring of the or the elasticity of the slingshot, but you still feel the weight.
Right.
Question, what do you do with respect? You're trying to set a flat bench PR for yourself at 600 now. How will what will you go in at, 275 or super heavy?
I'm just going to weigh as much as I can. So right now I weigh 290.
Okay.
And I'm still climbing a little bit, but I don't need to weigh any more than like 295 really. So
what is the record for a raw bench at unlimited?
Yeah, the biggest bench press of all time is 733 pounds by a Russian lifter, Kirill Serkiv.
Dude's a beast.
Oh my God, he's 6'5", he's 340. I mean, I've seen him do a set of 5, I think, with like 660. Or set of 4 with 660, just unbelievable. Amazing form and technique. That's what's really cool about powerlifting is there are guys that can kind of brute force their way through certain things, but when you get to the tippy top, there's only one way to do it. You have to do it the right way or you're not going to make the lift. The guys that are the best, it's a combination of technique and strength that has come together over a really long period of time.
So is he that combination of strength and technique?
Yeah, his technique is flawless, and he also kind of holds the weight at the top forever before he lowers it, so he does it really smooth, and it's super impressive watching him do it.
So 600 is not going to be a world record, but it's a personal record. But it puts you in elite category because there's very few cats walking planet Earth that got a 600 raw bench, regardless of what weight they're in.
Yeah, what are we talking about? Dino Bravo and Ted Arcidi, right, from back in the day?
Right.
Only a couple of them, right? Tony Atlas probably benched 600 pounds.
Dude, he missed it. I was at North Texas State University.
Well, that gives me more drive now.
No.
Tony Atlas is a legend.
Yeah, what happened was he opened at 5, he blew 550 out of the water, and he went for 6. Or he opened with 550 and blew it out of the water.
He was jacked.
He just had it was just a light gimmick shirt. It was damn near just a raw
right,
bench.
I got you, yeah.
And in 600, he got it up. Those big-ass arms, that chest, you know how badass Tony is.
Yeah, he was huge.
And he just couldn't quite lock it out. Had he went for the 6 when he went for the 550, he'd have dusted it.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, right.
But it was impressive. Yeah. And to ride, for a brief time there, Tony and I shared a couple trips in a car, and he would drink beer with me. Now, I'd outdrink Tony. And then the next day when we went to the gym, he'd show me what's up.
Right.
Yeah, because I was.
What do you have, like a 30-inch waist or something?
Yeah, I mean, he had.
It's like Mr. Universe or something like that, right?
Oh yeah. And
insane.
I mean, he damn near looks the same for all practical purposes, damn near right now than what he did. I mean, obviously softer, but I mean the same shape, the big jacks, the great shoulders, yeah. But that guy was just incredible. So I'd be out there when I first started in the business. When we get back to you, but when you brought up a Tony Atlas story, talking about this big bench, you know, when I first got into the business, dude, I was cranking out, and I never was a strong bencher, cranking out sets of 20, 315, just like it was nobody's business. Then I started getting beat up. And so by the time I started training with Tony, and I was drinking like hell, and I was, you know, I think I was getting close to the main event. I was getting pretty damn hot. But the hours were getting pretty long. The wear and tear on the body started piling up. And, man, I'd be over there just, you know, just rapping with 225. And then there Tony, you know, just 315. I mean, just you know,
smashing it.
Yeah, 4-5 and just stupid stuff. I mean, and he would drink with me. So I got to give Tony a lot of props.
He's probably a good rep guy, right? Because all the bodybuilding and stuff and the conditioning he was in.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. All right, so let me switch gears here and go from the bench press to football. Hey, football's back. Preseason is starting. I know all y'all are scouting players and stats to get in on the fantasy football action. And you know the best place to do that? DraftKings.com. And if you use my promo code UNLEASHED, you can play for free with your first deposit. So put your knowledge to the test and play for your shot at the $1 million top prize at DraftKings.com. And that's just a small part of the $5 million in total prizes they're doling out in this Week 1 contest. And you know DraftKings.com is the destination for one-week fantasy football. And 1 week means no season-long commitments. It also means you play whenever you want with the players you want. And it's easy. Just pick your contest, draft your players, and follow your team live. You can create and play in a private league or join an existing league and go head-to-head with friends, coworkers, and fantasy players from all across the country. So hurry to DraftKings.com to choose your players, and you could win some serious cash in Week 1. Use my promo code UNLEASHED and play for free with your first deposit. That's promo code UNLEASHED to play for free at DraftKings.com. That is DraftKings.com. Eligibility restrictions may apply. See website for details. Hey, man, let me take a minute here to thank another sponsor of the podcast, TrueCar and TrueCar app. If you're looking to buy a new or used car, then you need to check out TrueCar.com and the TrueCar app. I bet you didn't know that you can use TrueCar to help you buy a used car, too. It ain't just for new car purchases. There are over 500,000 pre-owned vehicles available from TrueCar certified dealers nationwide, and there are over 11,000 TrueCar certified dealers. And TrueCar lets you get upfront pricing information on new and used vehicles and lets you see what other people paid for the car you want so that you feel confident you're getting a fair price. With TrueCar, via the TrueCar pricing curve, you see what other people paid for the car and you lock in your guaranteed savings. Then you can connect with the local certified dealer of your choosing, take them your TrueCar guaranteed savings certificate, and make your car buying experience quick and easy. Over 2 million cars have been sold to TrueCar users by the TrueCar Certified Dealer Network. And TrueCar users save an average of over $3,000 off MSRP. So when you're ready to buy a new or used car, visit TrueCar.com or download the TrueCar app to enjoy a better car buying experience. Some features not available in all states. Hey, so, dude, I'm looking on your website, supertraining.tv. See what I did that? I don't know if you're not saying
you threw it in there.
So tell me about this. This one episode that you guys just got finished doing, the Powercast, number 156, Chalk and Glocks and Instagrammies. So the CrossFit Games are now handing out Glocks to their winners?
Yeah, handing out.
So how does this come about?
Firearms.
Well, I mean, I say this because this is just in a very weird time in the United States where you have so much calamity and tragedy and nonsensical violence going on. So I want to go into this and make this a level-headed conversation because as a guy who hunts and enjoys tactical shooting myself, I'm all about the safety of the sport, and that's paramount, and responsibility.
Yeah.
So how did this come to be with CrossFit and the Glocks?
So from a business perspective, I know people just think you're an ass-kicking redneck that drinks beer all day, but you do know business and you understand that like deals like this take a long time. So this Glock company approaching CrossFit to give out Glocks during the CrossFit Games, it didn't happen like the day of those controversial shootings and all these other things that happened. It didn't happen, right after. It probably happened months and months and months in advance, probably 6 months, 9 months, maybe even a year, maybe even sometimes 2 years. Sometimes it takes to do, deal with a big company. So I would imagine that's the case. Also, I heard in 2009 that that same company did give out guns to the winners of the CrossFit Games. It's just something that they didn't keep consistent. Dave Castro, who is I guess you'd call him the president of CrossFit, he is a former Navy SEAL. And so he's a proponent of it. You'll see him on his Instagram a lot of times. He does tactical type of stuff. He's, kind of diving underneath something and shooting stuff for time and accuracy and stuff like that. So,
well, it's interesting because going back to episode 155 on the Powercast done by Mark Bell, you got Tony Sitmanet. How you say that?
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway,
Real World Tactical on Instagram. Check him out. He's a freak.
Former Marine Corps vet, and he's a retired Miami police officer with 14 years of service. Okay, now he owns Real World Tactical. Now tell me about why would you have this guy on your on the Powercast? Because I didn't know that you were into shooting.
I'm not, but I'm, with everything that's going on, actually my background with guns is I don't have any. I'm unfamiliar with guns.
You got 2 guns on you right now.
That's right.
Talking about the man's arms.
That's right. But I don't have, I'm not all that familiar with them, so they actually kind of make me nervous. I'm not against them by any means, but yeah, like I don't have any experience with it, so it's new or different to me. But having Tony on the show was basically kind of in response to all the different things that were going on right now, and trying to get answers from some people. Like, is there stuff that we can do? Are things going to get better? And unfortunately, he said he thinks things are going to get a whole lot worse, and that we're heading towards, he thinks, some dark times where these shootings and things like that may happen on a monthly basis, which to me alerted me to, you know what? You should probably figure out how to shoot a gun. You should probably, I don't know if I'll go as far to buy one and stuff like that, but I should at least have a little bit more knowledge, so that way if shit does hit the fan, am I just going to ignore everything that's going on around me and not be able to protect myself or my family? So that's just some of the thoughts running through my head, and I think a lot of other people are probably thinking some similar thoughts.
The biggest problem with this, first of all, it's absolutely mind-blowing that all this is happening.
Yeah.
You've had police officers get shot before, but now when you have someone trying to pick them off and that line has been crossed,
yeah,
someone's crossed the line now, so there could be more, and I hope that it stops, and I hope that they take a hard line stance on, hey, we're gonna fuck you up. You're doing this. I mean,
yeah.
You got to draw the line.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into a big political thing, but the leadership obviously starts at the top, and you got to send out a message. And I don't think a message has been sent out hard enough or fast enough or from the heart enough.
Yeah.
But this is fucking flat out bullshit.
Right. And a lot of times, the officers don't have the training in communicating with Tony. He was saying that the officers are required to just fire their gun like once a year. And how often do they pull their gun out? How often do they get in these situations? It's kind of up to each officer. Now, Tony was an officer in Miami where shit goes down often, and he wanted to be overly prepared so that he lived and so he survived, and that he could basically, he's like a cop through and through. He wants to get the bad guy. That's like his goal. He's into that. So for him, he was always, every time he worked out, every time he trained, it was all for being a cop. But much like when you were wrestling, all your training was for wrestling, to look good in the ring and to be able to whoop people's ass and have the conditioning that you need to get through the match. His whole thing was he wants to be conditioned to be able to shoot the firearms and to be able to do whatever he needs to do in any crisis situation, because he said as soon as someone comes into a place and starts firing the place up, everyone's heart rate goes through the roof. And so what he tries to do with his training, tries to simulate that. Let's get our heart rate just going crazy, 190, 200 beats a minute like you're a damn hummingbird, and then still try to be able to fire and shoot and be able to think and be able to resolve situations.
Be able to think clearly and make great decisions.
Red wire or green wire?
Yeah.
Which one are you going to clip?
Yeah, I had a story. We touched upon that. Let's go ahead and move on and switch subjects. But, yeah, man, I really, really hope shit starts from the top and there's a message sent. And all
Tony would be great on your podcast, by the way. He's good, really good dude.
You'd like him a lot. Where's he based out of? Did he come by?
He's out of Miami, but he'll be back in the area again.
Okay.
I'll let you know. I'll hit you up.
All right, dude, I got to ask you about your diet because when you're looking at trying to push 600 pounds off your chest and be successful at it, and last time you were here, you were 255-ish, and you said, what, you're 290?
290, yep.
290. So what have you done with the calories?
Just eating a lot, just trying to find calorie-dense food. So for me, and whenever I say it, people look at me like I got two heads, but I really don't love to eat that much. I do love pizza, and I do love ice cream. I do love all those things. But, I've been eating chicken and steak and tuna and, like, all this stuff forever, for years and years and years. And so for me to just keep gulping that down all the time is a giant pain in the ass. So what I try to do is I try to make meals a little bit more dense. I'll put butter on stuff. This morning I dipped some bacon into some butter, just trying to make a joke. But I'll do stuff like that to try to make things more dense. I'll throw MCT oil, peanut butter, whatever I can to make the meal more dense. I'll try to throw that into my foods. I would say that I've almost doubled my calories because my caloric intake was never probably as high as it needed to be anyway. I was probably 2,500 to 3,000, which is not that much even for a guy who's 260. It's okay, but, probably not great. And now I'm probably, more in the 5,500, 6,000 range, somewhere in there.
So how are you feeling?
I feel good. For a little bit there, I gained the weight too fast. I got too bloated too quick, and sleeping was an issue. But I just cleaned up the foods a little bit, and then got rid of some bloat. You don't want to, whenever you're trying to lose weight or gain weight, the best way to do them is with the cleanest foods possible. But when you're gaining weight, as I mentioned, you're going to need some calorie-dense stuff. So the difference between gaining weight if you were to have a burrito versus losing weight might be that your burrito, if you're gaining weight, has cheese and has sour cream in it. If you're trying to lose weight, maybe it doesn't have that in there. Maybe it's just chicken, rice, beans, maybe some salsa, and that's it.
Well, from what it sounds like you're going high protein, high fat. Are you utilizing any carbs? Are you trying to stay away from
the carbs.
With as much, your caloric level being what it is.
Yeah, the carbs are in there, but I'm not...
but not carb heavy.
Yeah, I'm not eating tons of carbs.
Okay, so you would say, no, I'm on 500 grams of carbs. I'm on 500 grams of protein and 300 grams of fat.
Right. The main mission is always the protein and the fat. When you're training for powerlifting and you're training to get bigger and stronger, you're looking for saturated fats. You're looking for stuff from basically just red meat. A lot of red meat is what I'm trying to eat.
Was this the same thing? Because you sent me your diet back in the day when you got down to 255. Mm-hmm. You had some carbs built in there. It might have been 300 grams, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
But you were doing cardio. I would imagine you've eliminated every bit of cardio.
Yeah, there's no cardio right now. The diet I sent you a while back, that was so like the worst way to try to lose weight, in my opinion. The worst thing to do right away is to just take calories away. The first order of business is usually more activity. More activity and actually more food is a decent place to start, and then you could start to take away food as you start to move along. But the first choice is more activity and frequent meals, and making sure you're able to eat those meals. And then the next thing would be after that to start to pull some calories away.
All right, you are a well-rounded power lifter. You do all three lifts. You do them well. You squat, you bench press, and you deadlift. Now that you're focusing on the big bench, with respect to the other lifts and then also your accessory work, which will apply to your bench press, what have you prioritized and dropped off?
Still doing all three. So, like, for this particular meet, I'm going to compete in all three because, I've said it before, so everybody laughs when I say it, but this is my last powerlifting meet. I mean, I do have to hit the 600-pound bench, so if I don't hit the 600-pound bench, I may have to do the motherfucker one more time. But I should be able to knock that out, no problem. I am squatting and deadlifting in my training now. Nothing is taking a back seat. It's full throttle all the way with everything. There's 16 weeks or so until the meet, and it's just full steam ahead, trying to do everything and anything that I can to get that 600-pound bench. I want to still squat over 650 just in knee sleeves, which everyone kind of jokes that I bench more than I squat, which occasionally I do. My bench training actually a lot of times is heavier than my squat training. It just works out weird that way, to the sense where I can squat lighter and get more out of my training, just because I've been doing it for so long, I think. And then the deadlift, still pushing the deadlift hard. I've been hitting PRs in everything. I'm a big proponent of having rep records, and so I have a rep record for sets of 3, a rep record for sets of 4 and 5, and so on, because you can only do so many of those really big singles before you really start to wear your body down. If I try to do a heavy single every week and progressively just go heavier and heavier, at a certain point you run into limitations, and your central nervous system gets fried out and stuff. So what I'm doing for now, since the meet is still so far away, is we're working more on the muscular system, and we're working on a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit of like muscular endurance. So we're trying to do sets and reps, 3 sets of 3 with 85%, stuff like that.
Okay, so then if the meet, Jesus, is 16 weeks away, 4 months, on your current eating regimen, what do you anticipate weighing when you do that bench? 3? 305?
I probably will be between 295 and 300.
Okay.
The weight class goes up to 308, but I think you get to a certain point of like diminished returns. I don't need to be any fatter or any more unhealthy just to hit the 600-pound bench. I think right about where I'm at now, give or take 5 pounds or so, should be good to go.
All right, dude. What about the gear?
Well, you need it. Yeah, you need a little boost when you're doing this kind of stuff that I'm doing. We're in a weird time right now where we have a lot of people that aren't. There's so much money on the line in some of these professional sports and stuff like that you're not going to get people to really tell the truth. But in powerlifting, there's drug tested and there's non-drug tested federations. I compete in the non-drug tested federations, and so it's a lot easier to talk about it. And in powerlifting and bodybuilding, they're not as scrutinized over it. There's not as much hysteria about the whole thing. People just in other sports, they go nutty about it. You're looking at stuff that's going on in the UFC right now. They took so let's see if I can get this right. So they had Daniel Cormier was going to fight Bones Jones. They took Bones Jones out because he tested positive for some sort of performance-enhancing drug, which I think ended up turning out to be an estrogen blocker of some sort, I believe. And they removed him, and they brought in Anderson Silva, who I think has been popped twice already before for performance-enhancing drugs. They move those guys off the main card, and they bring in Brock Lesnar, who just, by all accounts from where I sit, I don't think there's any possible way that the guy could be natural, but anything's possible, I guess. But being 260 or 270, he's one of the greatest specimens that I've ever seen, period, in any sport. I mean, the guy is an absolute freak, super athletic, crazy strong, and just brutal. So it's interesting. And then Brock ends up getting popped as well, which I'm not sure exactly what's coming of all that. But it's interesting that they're going through all this turmoil, and it's kind of, when you think about the UFC and you think about what their mission is, it's sports entertainment. Kind of falls into the WWE category in a way. And you almost wonder, like, man, can't they have like a little bit looser, a little bit longer of a leash on what they're doing? Yeah, but when you
say sports entertainment, it's a sport that should be entertaining because it's a straight up sport. It's a shoot.
Yeah, right.
There's some entertainment value to it. For me, just speaking for me, across the board, whether you're playing football, basketball, golf, track and field, I'm down with just have a level that everybody could safely use or compete at, so that you got it. Because here's the thing: if you go back to, man, where did steroids come out of? And what was it, the 40s? Was it Germany or Russia?
Yeah, Eastern Bloc.
Eastern Bloc. Wherever. So all of a sudden, all these years go by, and people set a lot of records, on the gas, and all of a sudden, just throw some GH in there. But I mean, all these records get set. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, if you want to make everything 100% clean, how are people going to be able to touch these records? Yeah. Because, dude, I don't want to see, if they really just, everybody went straight up, clean, It'd be the shits.
Yeah, it would suck.
It would.
Yeah.
Because, man, I want to see guys run faster.
How exciting was baseball?
Run faster. I want to see, them throw the discus further, jump higher. And
Yeah.
I just think that at some level that I think, and, dude, if you look at football, I don't know what the policy is. In an NFL, maybe you do. You're more around the strength element than I am. There's got to be some level of TRT that those guys are competing at.
I would hope so.
Because to be 100% clean, to go what those guys are going through.
Yeah.
But if you just keep that level at a constant,
Right.
I'm down with it myself.
Yeah. Same here.
And I think almost, well, dude, you've been around, and in the game you're in.
Yeah.
I don't know any competitive athlete. Damn near.
Right.
It just says, there's a few. There's a few that are 100% against. But
I hope the listeners are sitting down for this.
No, but by and large, everybody wants to get the most they can out of their body.
Right.
And that's going to lead, if you talk about Star Wars, that's going to lead them to what we call the dark side.
Yeah.
And some people just, hey, man, straight up just the best of the best. Well, here's the thing. Go back to when Lance Armstrong won 8 Tour de France's.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most dirtiest sports on planet Earth.
Oh, yeah, everybody, yeah.
And all of a sudden, man, he's clean. Of course, within the community, he's dirty.
Right.
So I'm sitting there watching this, I'm thinking, okay, man, this dude was won 8 Tour de France's. Everybody else is dirty, and he's beating them clean.
Right.
He must be really badass.
Right.
That dude was dirty all along.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
It is what it is. And the thing about him was he just handled all his shit in a real negative fashion.
Oh, yeah.
Threw people under the bus.
He
I'm
attacked.
not my personal attack or indictment on him. It's just like, dude, he really handled it in a real shitty fashion. But, dude, he was on the shit the whole time.
Yeah, he would outwardly attack people when they accused him, when he should have just said, I don't test positive. He should have just stuck to the facts, because I don't think they ever really did find any samples of him testing positive, I don't think.
Yeah, but you.
They all came out and admitted it later, but.
Would you say, across the board with any athletics, hey man, yeah, it's okay to be on a.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We got the CrossFit games going on right now, and with the Olympics going on right now, was something like 50 or 60 Russian athletes that tested positive. I think Russia is banned from the Olympics. Period. and it's funny though. Do you think that it's just the Russians? Only the Russian athletes are into it. So it's just absurd to try to think that they're the only ones. I think it's funny here in America how we put everybody up on this pedestal and we hold them to this high standard. There's been stuff circulating around Peyton Manning, growth hormone or. Peyton Manning is one of the most competitive athletes that we've ever seen. Is he not going to take something that's going to keep him in the game a little bit longer? Of course he is. It shouldn't shock everybody if somebody finds out something about Tom Brady. Look at all the different things the Patriots have done over the years that have been really riding that fine line, right? You got even Michael Jordan. People love Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's untouchable. You can't say one negative thing about Michael Jordan. But, again, he's the most competitive athlete that the United States has ever seen. Is he going to do something a little, maybe a little different than everybody? He might, right?
Yeah, but he's in that rarefied air. You think playing a game of basketball, he was just always that much better than anybody else. Because he was, from the first time I saw him, just hands down elite.
I guess what people are looking for is a baseline of something to compare it to, right? They're trying to figure out, oh man, I played some basketball and I worked really hard in basketball, but what Jordan does is just on another level. And you want to try to think that it's just human, it's just his natural born talent or whatever. But genetics are fucked too, though. Genetics are more unfair than steroids ever will be. Any concoction of steroids or growth hormone, anything that you can take, genetics are way more fucked and way more lopsided than anything you could ever take.
In your DNA, so
yeah.
What you're born with, it just happens to be some people have way better DNA than other people.
Yeah, you're born to play the piano or some shit, right? Yeah, you're born to whatever, yeah.
All right, Mark, let's look at it this way. You might have someone who's pretty good at something.
Right.
And then you got the person who's excellent at something. And the person who's pretty good could be on some shit, but they might not ever be able to get to the person that's excellent just because that's who and what they are. That's their genetic code. Their DNA is that much superior. But at least this person's now almost able to compete on a level platform.
Right.
Now, were the elite dude to be on some shit as well, he would take his game to a whole nother level.
Right.
But, make no mistake. I mean, genetic makeup comes first and foremost, in my opinion. Because you got to start from somewhere, because you can start with the worst athlete in the world, hop them full of all kinds of bullshit, all the designer steroids out there, HGH, everything but the kitchen sink, and you can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Yeah.
You can make it a little bit better, but not all that much better.
A great example is, somebody trying to run faster or somebody trying to jump higher. You can have somebody like I could have worked on jumping higher from the time I was a kid until now and only be able to jump a certain height. Some kid out of nowhere who's 18 can probably, maybe I'm jumping on this certain box, right? And I that's a PR for me. Some kid out of nowhere can come up and go boop and jump right up on there, and somebody else can blow you away that much more, and somebody else can beat him that much more. Just a few weeks ago in my gym, I did a 715 deadlift with lifting straps. Lifting straps help your grip a little bit more, so you don't have to worry about your hands being the kind of the weak link. And 715 deadlift raw is a PR for me. It's the most I've ever done. I've been lifting since I was 12, as I mentioned earlier. We have a guy in our gym named Nsima. He comes up. 715 no belt, just crushes it. Lifted it faster than me, lifted it better than me, and it's obvious that he's going to outlift me. And he's only been powerlifting for 3 months, something like that. So you're going to have people that are genetically superior, and his Instagram name, ironically, is the Natty Professor. so you go figure all that out. And O'Hearn has always professed that he's natural. John Cena has always said. John Cena is a really good friend of mine. He's always said that he's natural. And you look at these people, you're like, that doesn't look like anything that I associate with being natural.
Man, I don't know. You got your genetic freaks out there. So
I know, it's hard to say.
No, Mark, what is the deal with one last question about some steroids? You've been around the horn a few times. You got your basics, your tests, your decas, whatever, your Anavar 50. What about these designer drugs? Because back in the day when Balco came out, and there's a whole Barry Bonds thing, among others who are using the Balco stuff. What was it with respect to those substances that made them designer steroids? Were they more difficult to test? What was the difference between those designer steroids and your basics, testosterones, DECA, your Tren? What?
I think the main thing is it made it undetectable. So you have I'm not all that technical with a lot of the stuff, but they have testosterone cypionate, testosterone propionate, and you have different breakdowns of different chemicals that it's attached to. Some of them are longer acting, some of them are shorter acting, and when you have a lot of the stuff that they had from Balco was stuff that was undetectable because I think it was in and out of your system super fast. Or the other thing I kind of remember is they had a weird substance. It was still testosterone, but if I remember correctly, it had something that would kind of block them from testing positive. Exactly what it was that they were taking. There are a lot of things out there right now. There's all kinds of different peptides and all these different things. I kind of was mentioning earlier to a friend, I was like, I don't, when it comes to CrossFit and it comes to some of these sports, I think everybody wants to talk about steroids, but there's so much more than just steroids going on because if you take a sport like CrossFit, almost every CrossFit guy and almost every high-level CrossFit guy and every high-level CrossFit girl, they all look relatively the same. The guys are 5'8", 5'9", and they're all under 200 pounds, approximately, give or take 5-10 pound swing. The girls are all the same height, about the same weight. What's interesting is if you were just to give these people testosterone, of course it would make them stronger, and of course it's going to make them bigger. But is that going to make them better for what they're trying to do? The main thing with CrossFit, what they've been trying to get across from day one, they said, show me somebody that can squat 600 pounds, and I'll show you somebody that can't run a 6-minute mile, and vice versa. And so when you start to think about those elements, you have those many different elements involved in fitness. They're trying to find a lot of different levels of fitness that somebody has. does a steroid really help? And I don't think it really does help that much. I think that something else would help, or very low doses of steroids possibly. But I think that a lot of people are looking into more of these peptides. I think a lot of people are going to track coaches seem to have the most knowledge. Track coaches and cyclists seem to have the most knowledge when it comes to stuff that's like undetectable and things that they can't test for, and things that will still give you a giant boost in performance enhancement, but maybe aren't even on the list quite yet.
But what is a peptide? Is that something? Is that a banned substance?
Growth hormone is a banned substance, and that's
right.
a peptide. The growth hormone is amino acids. It's like 181 amino acids bonded together, or something along those lines. The peptides, I don't know exactly what category they fall under, but there's different derivatives of growth hormone. There's IGF-1, which is another form of growth hormone. There's all these different derivatives of stuff, and they just keep coming out with more stuff all the time. I guess the main point is that they come out with stuff so quickly that they can't always test for all of them.
Well, when you said they keep coming out with these different things, it's because there's a demand.
Oh, absolutely.
For these different things.
Right.
Like your Joe Blow at the gym who ain't going to get tested.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man, he may run some T, maybe some Deca. Man, that's on him, but it ain't got to be designer.
Right.
It ain't got to be the latest, greatest scientific.
And there's things like
proven to do what they're intended to do.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. When you go back to, and it comes right back to what you were saying, DNA and genetics. When you go to the CrossFit Games, which you are here in a few minutes, and you look at those athletes, and for whatever their protocol is, but when you look at the CrossFit Games, automatically you've gathered some of the most genetically gifted individuals walking
absolutely.
around in the United States, because ain't nobody there is a slacker. They're all pretty damn good because they're the best of the best because they're at the CrossFit Games.
Right.
Because you got to go through what? Your locals, your regionals, your different brackets to get there to begin with.
Right.
So all of a sudden when you round up all these cats, you say, man, everybody's got a 6-pack or an 8-pack or whatever, and they're doing these stupid weights. Man, they're all genetically inclined, and they've been busting their ass in the fucking gym.
Yeah.
Because you can do, and let's get off CrossFit for a second, but you can do whatever you're going to do, when it's bodybuilding, powerlifting. You can be on all the shit in the world, but if you don't put in the hours, if you don't put in the time, if you don't put in the training, if you don't take care of your nutrition, you ain't maximizing you, and you ain't maximizing what you're putting your body through.
Right. Exactly.
It's kind of stupid.
What do you think about some of the women that end up on your show? Like a lot of them, they're CrossFitters, and what we've noticed is that the females in CrossFit almost more jacked than the guys. They don't look more jacked than the guys, but they look more impressive for a female, and they're lifting weights that are even more impressive sometimes than what the guys are moving.
Man, I don't know. I just think it's because from just a trap development thing. They're doing so many damn clean and jerks and stuff
traps
like
and
that.
shoulders is what you see a lot of,
shoulders.
Which you didn't used to see on girls.
Yeah, but I just think it's due to all the Olympic lifts and your basic clean and jerk. And all the deadlifting stuff they're doing. I think it just has to do with the movements that they're doing. Because, dude, back in the day, you wouldn't just see a bunch of chicks in there doing a bunch of clean and jerks.
Yeah.
When did you see that?
Yeah, I know. I talk about it all.
When did it start?
Just recently. Yeah, very,
right.
very recently.
And so, dude, I think you can get in there, and don't get me wrong, we see some great female bodybuilders with a great set of traps. But that was just basically shrugs, and they're genetically inclined to be great bodybuilders. So I just think all these badass track athletes or people from, some of the chicks come from wrestling background as well, but they all come from some type of athletic endeavor.
Right.
And, dude, it's just the application of the weights and the repetition and living the lifestyle. To me, that's
I think living the lifestyle is a huge part of it. When I started powerlifting, there was no girls, there was no chicks involved in powerlifting. They didn't do, like you just said, they weren't benching and deadlifting and squatting. If there were any women in the gym, it was when I was a young kid. When I was young, there was usually older women in the gym, and they were doing machines and stuff. If they were lifting weights at all, they were doing like a leg press or something like that. But they certainly weren't powerlifting. I remember, going to powerlifting meets. It was really rare to see hardly any women there, period, as fans or participants or anything. And now it's almost like, I think it's flipped. It's like 50-50 almost. Sometimes even there's more women participants than there are guys.
Dude, it's a nice flip.
Yeah, it's great.
No, because like if you got Gold's Gym, it's a couple miles from here. The Mecca, so many damn badass people train there. But you go to some of these these corporate gyms. I don't want to name any names. You've been to them.
Mm-hmm.
But, dude, they ain't no chalk. There ain't nobody over there doing heavy deadlifts. So, so now with the advent of CrossFit and the fact that the women have really gravitated towards it just like the guys have, it's just these boxes, whatever you want to call them. But now hardcore training is coming back.
Right.
And it's I don't want to say it's sexy again. It's in vogue again.
Right.
Because, for a long time, and, if a female was going to join a gym, it was probably some just as big as my yard right there. Just some fucking hole in the wall with a bunch of guys, a bunch of mutants in there lifting heavy shit.
Right.
And now the women are like, hey, man, CrossFit, go in there and bang out some fucking hang cleans, do their Kevin pull-ups, whatever. And so now, you got all these people coming back to the gym, and now it's the you just had the people there who just want to go in there and get their workout in, get on the treadmill, the free core, the elliptical, and just, hey.
Yeah, a lot of people with a lot of different goals back then.
More power to them. But I just, it's so many people waste time in the gym. I don't even know why they go.
Right.
If you ain't going to go there to accomplish a goal, why go?
I think it's a big factor, too, in empowering women, because now they're lifting for performance and not so much the aesthetics. And you still see the aesthetics still come because they build confidence. They start training. They feel more confident. And they'll if they need to, they'll adhere to more of a diet, because once they start lifting for a while, they're going to be like, shit, man, why aren't I seeing any real results? Like, I'm getting stronger, but I would like to be a little bit more fit. Then they start doing a little bit of a diet, and next thing you know, they're in great shape.
To me, the aesthetics come with the lifestyle and the training, and all of a sudden you throw a little diet in there. But I mean, because one of the things that I love about the CrossFit model is whether you're doing Fran or Murph, or I can't name a bunch of WODs for you, but if you're trying to do that, you're trying to either get as many reps as possible or lower your time trying to accomplish a certain task. So that's like progressive overload with a bodybuilder or a powerlifter trying to apply weight. Bam, and when you throw that, I don't know, anaerobic activity, I mean, it's a fat-burning special.
Oh, my God.
Especially when you're doing that shit all the time. So, the aesthetics come with it as long as you're applying yourself in a steadfast fashion and, living a reasonable life, maintaining your diet.
We always preach that powerlifting is a lifestyle. At Super Training Gym, we're always preaching that to people. Even when you do a powerlifting meet and you want to get as big as possible and you want to get as powerful as possible for the meet, after every meet, you lose weight, you get in better shape, and you start the whole process over again. You give yourself time to heal, and you don't just blindly go up and down in weight randomly. It's a systematic thing that we're trying to do. We're trying to prepare ourselves for what we're about to do. Each training cycle that you go through, each little phase, we kind of do these like mini cycles of 3 weeks. Each mini cycle is to prepare you for the next one. So if somebody wants to bench 225 for 40 reps because they're doing a combine type thing, you don't just randomly out of nowhere start benching 225 for sets of 20. You prepare yourself for that for 3 weeks, and maybe you prepare yourself for that by doing 4 sets of 10 with really, really low rest. Maybe you rest 15 seconds, 20 seconds, something like that, and then the next week you maybe do a little more weight, or you do it maybe you add 2 reps or something like that, and then you're preparing yourself for what is coming next. And that's what we're always doing, whether it's not just in the gym. If you want to be good at something, I tell people all the time, it takes some effort. You might be able to get a coach. You might be able to kind of play around, mess around, and you might end up being pretty good at something. But if you want to be great at it, and you want to get the most out of it that you possibly can, it takes the greatest effort of your life, and you have to commit to it 24/7. It's not something that you can just kind of play around with. And, when I say that, it's not to say that you can't have fun with it. You can still have fun with it, but it's more fun when you're kicking ass.
Yeah, but when you say you're looking for results, or you're a result-driven person, it's like when I do my reads for DDP Yoga. Diamond Dallas preaches you got to commit. Dude, if you don't commit, I mean, you can half-ass anything, and you can
Get a
look
little
better, or you can have fun, or you can do whatever you want. But if your goal is to really change your body composition, if you don't committing to me, you owe me a beer. Anytime someone's phone goes off when they're doing my podcast, they owe me a beer. Mark Bell.
I wish I knew somebody that made their own beer.
Shit. My phone's going off right now, too, but I got the damn computer on silence because I'm a professional. Trying to win an award up in this motherfucker. Mark Bell holding me back. Try to ride him on my coattails, carrying through. Look, I get text everywhere. My shit's on silent. Diamond Dallas Page talks about committing. Well, you can commit on different levels. Yeah, you can say you can commit to the gym, and you're there. But, okay, what other level are you going to commit? Okay, then you can commit your diet, so you can be strict on your diet.
Yeah.
Well, then you got to commit to, if you're a little bit tend to go heavy on the booze, you can't go out and drink your 10 tequila shots every night. So a commitment to me is on every level, and you say, I want to make a goddamn change, and so therein lies the results. But it has to be, just like you said, at Super Training, commit, but at all levels. You're all in, or you just kind of half-ass in.
Yeah.
Depends on where you want to take it.
Yeah, we say either you're in or you're in the way. You have to be in at all levels, and if you're not, you're just doing a disservice to yourself, and you're not going to be able to get as much out of it as you want. And a lot of times I'll have people that come to me and they'll say, I want to do a 500-pound squat. And it's like, okay, that's cool, but the 500-pound squat doesn't just come from you coming in here twice a week working on your squat. It's a process. It's something that has to be worked on all the time. If you're coming in here the day after you told me that you want to do a 500-pound squat and it's 4 p.m. and you only have one meal in you, then you're a sucker. And you're not committing to it all the way. You're trying to kid yourself, and you're trying to kid me, and it's not going to work because you can't fool the weights. There's no tricks. You have to commit to it all the way.
Hey, what's the atmosphere over at Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West? Because I've been meaning to get over there, but I mean, you guys got some serious powerlifters over there.
We'd probably kick you off the team. I think.
Right.
You'd be off the team.
But I wouldn't let you kick me off the team. I'd give you all a Stone Cold Stunner and throw your asses out and shut the doors on you. Hey, but talk to me about the atmosphere in there, because straight up, you got some serious powerlifters, some CrossFitters in there, and you work with everybody around the horn. Probably some bodybuilders as well. I mean, just can a regular cat go in there and survive, or y'all just like, all right, what are you here for? You got to be on a mission to join Super Training Gym.
Yeah, that's kind of more the way it is we want people that are driven. We want people that are self-motivated. I kind of share with people all the time that if you're not sweating, I'm not going to talk to you. So if I see you in there week in and week out and you're sweating, then I want to get to know you more. I want to see you deadlift. I want to see you squat. But if you're not proving yourself, you're not in there working hard, then we don't have time for you. The gym is free, and we have a little bit of a process to go through, but nothing hard. But we just basically lifters will come in on a Sunday and they'll check it out, and then we'll kind of see, make sure they're not crazy, make sure they're not going to come in and blow up the joint or anything. We'll kind of assess them a little bit and see where they stand, and if they want to commit to it and they want to be all in, then they can join the team. It's a pretty simple process, but you get the idea right away who's going to be a little too timid to really push forward, who's going to be way into it. But the main thing at Super Training Gym is that we have fun first. When we walk in the gym, you're going to see guys laughing, you're going to see guys messing around. When it's time to get into your main set and get into your main work, everyone's just strictly business. Just for those few seconds, somebody makes the lift, then we're all horsing around again. But we are in there, we are on a mission. But we're not a bunch of assholes. We're not like so tight and so tied up in what we're doing that we can't relax and can't have some fun with it too. Because if you're trying so hard to bring something so close to you and trying to force something, it's not going to ever happen for you. You have to just let it happen naturally. I kind of tell people a lot that strength training in a lot of ways is like chasing a pretty girl. The more that you pull it closer to you, the further away it's going to get. The further away it's going to get away from you. So you have to let it naturally kind of come to you. It has to be a smooth transition. Just because you're blasting some heavy metal music and you're getting all fired up and stuff doesn't mean that you're going to make the lift. You're going to make the lift by doing the work week in and week out, and by making a full commitment.
Yeah, but you got to have fun doing it. It's like when I got
absolutely
to pro wrestling. There's such a parallel there, because I guess I'd probably been in 3, 4, 5 years down here in WCW, and man, business in the ring was serious business. And I'm out here to have a fucking match. This is important. I'm the bad guy. He's a good guy, and there's people out there watching. Well, shit. Once you learn that you can actually have fun out there, it gets so much easier. So when you walk into a gym, a serious gym like Super Training or Goals or wherever, they're dropping heavy iron or picking up heavy iron. It's like, dude, you can throw on your metal. You can get amped up for a set. But when I see these cats walking around with this maniacal look on their face for fucking 60 minutes, like, lighten up, Francis.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the guy dropping the fucking 60-pound dumbbells like they were 200s.
Yeah.
Damn near crashed on feet. I'm like, really? You got to throw that shit around? You can get psyched up for your set.
Right.
Enjoy yourself. And if that's your way of blowing off steam, then fine.
Right.
Well, how are you guys about? Well, first of all, how do you run a gym and not charge admission?
That's all from the slingshot. I'm blessed to have made an invention, which is called the slingshot. Talked about it here on the podcast before, based off of the slingshot, I made other products. All the products are products that assist you in lifting, that help you work through pain. I've been lifting for a long time, and my freaking elbows hurt, and this hurts, and that hurts. And you got to still be able to train. And so I always say, protect yourself before you wreck yourself. Make sure you're wearing your belt, before you hurt your back. You don't want to throw your back out of nowhere. So the gym is free because what comes from the gym back to me is something that I can't place a value on it. Super Training Gym has given me my life. Basically, it's given me and my family a better life, because the slingshot was developed in there. Power Magazine came from there. Our podcast came from there. Everything has kind of come from Super Training Gym, which is now kind of a testing ground and a lab for all the different products that we have on howmuchyoubench.net.
Well, yeah, and before we ride off in the sunset, let's talk about your entrepreneurial ventures. You got supertraining.tv as your website. On Twitter, you are?
At Mark Smelly Bell.
Okay, man, and inventing the slingshot and all the other stuff. What's next?
Well, we actually just revamped our website. Supertraining.tv is where you're going to find a lot of the podcast information. Mark Bell's Powercast, which is also on iTunes.
Are you dropping that once a week now?
Yeah, once a week. Okay. Yeah, once a week. And hopefully we'll have your ass up to Sacramento, have you on the show.
If I can get this wing, I have lived with the shoulder for 4 months, so I'm still letting out all the suture work.
Did you have another blowout?
No, dude, tore an inference super.
When did you do that?
Dude, right before WrestleMania.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I have my bicep reattached right here, so I'm ain't worth the shit. I haven't lifted with this side of my body in 4 months.
Things are pretty serious here at Stone Cold's place. Even his dog has a torn ACL.
Well, we think she might have a torn ACL. She's playing in the swimming pool. Kristen put it through the proper warm-up process.
Things get rough around here.
Oh, dude, man, I got to get on some shit. His balcon's still in business. I got to make a collect call. Hey, so how much prep do you put into the Powercast? Do you know who's coming in? You got some of the strongest athletes in the world coming by your gym specifically to train and talk with you, get some techniques, share information. How often? What's your prep for stuff like this?
Yeah, a lot of it is years of preparation, just because I've been in the sport for so long. So like if I bring in somebody like a guy named Pete Rubish recently deadlifted 900 pounds in training, weighing about 240. Unbelievable lifter.
Ridiculous.
Then I already know quite a bit about him before he comes in. There's been a few occasions where I need to study up on somebody, but the internet's always a great resource. I think, people they forget that the internet can be used for more than just porn. There's actually real information out there. So I just kind of brush up on some of that sometimes.
Well, I mean, they're in your wheelhouse. This is what you do. But again, you'll step out of that wheelhouse talking about your tactical stuff and stuff like that. But I want to ask you one question before we ride off sunset, because we got a meeting right down the street. Mm-hmm. What about this the young cat?
Can I go with you in the meeting?
The right by the guy that came by your gym. It was Jesse Neal?
Jesse Norris.
Jesse Norris.
Yep, Norris.
God damn. What is up with this guy? You talk about a strong little bastard.
Yeah, he's insanely strong, competes in a drug-tested federation. Back to the whole genetic thing that we were talking about earlier, I think a lot of times people think they have good genetics, or they think so-and-so has good genetics, but there's always somebody out there who's stronger. There's always somebody out there a little bit better, and that guy could very well be Jesse Norris. Kid squatted 750 in just a pair of knee sleeves.
At a $198?
Yeah. Yeah, he squatted 725 for 3 reps or something like that in my gym. Crazy strong kid. Really, really gifted lifter. I think sometimes, occasionally people are just made out of something a little bit different than the next guy. What enables somebody to be able to take some of these crazy punches and kicks and stuff that you see in the UFC versus somebody else? It's not like the guy who doesn't go down doesn't feel it, or he's just somehow just crazy or something. He genetically has something that is allowing him to stay up and to keep fighting, And I think sometimes with a kid like Jesse Norris, just maybe the insertions of his muscles are a tiny bit different than everybody else, and he did a 826 deadlift. He's totaled over 2,000 pounds in the 198 class, multiple world record holder. I mean, he's just...
How old is this guy, 21?
He's probably about 25.
25, okay.
Yeah.
But nonetheless,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. But also, from what I read about him, first of all, his genetics are off the chain. But also, he came up in a gym of hardcore lifters where everybody was strong as fuck. So he didn't have a low ceiling.
Yeah.
He had a real high ceiling. He was like, oh, you're not supposed to be able to lift that. It was just expected to be able to lift that. And, the fact that he has great genetics and he works his ass off has surpassed half those cats.
That ends up being a huge thing. When people walk in the doors of super training and somebody says they want to do a 600-pound deadlift, I've seen people deadlift 600 pounds. I've seen people deadlift 700. I've seen people deadlift 800. I've actually saw the first 1,000-pound deadlift ever done by Andy Bolton. So I've seen all these things happen. I know what's possible, and I know that I can help get somebody there. So I'm not going to be like, oh man, I'm not going to put a damper on your dreams. I'm going to probably just try to help you get there, as long as you're not talking crazy talk, as long as you've never deadlifted 315 before and you're talking about doing 700. But realistically, I know that I can help people get there.
All right, let's end this on a high note. I got a 2003 green Ford Focus Metallic P. It's the SE model. It's a special edition.
It's not junk.
No, hell no, it ain't junk.
I don't
If
know.
it's junk, I'd call this number this fucking card. I'm going to offer you this car right now, Mark, for $10,000 cash.
I think it's a steal.
You want to write me a check for it and drive it home?
Absolutely. It's beautiful.
Thank you. We just closed the car transaction here on the Steve Austin Show. I'm talking to Mark Bell. His website is supertraining.tv.
And howmuchyoubench.net, where we're giving you 15% off if you type in Austin 316.
Go for it. And speaking of these slingshots, I got a couple of them here in Cali, and I got a couple down at my ranch, and I absolutely love them because speaking about your elbow problems a while ago, as you know, this arm doesn't straighten out. I'm not benching right now because of the rotator cuff. I got a bunch of chips on that elbow, and when those chips get in the way and get underneath those tendons,
you were telling me.
I put on my slingshot, and I can actually put weight on the bar, feel the weight, and I get the assistance, but I'm able to at least feel the weight. So that's helpful for me just mentally, along with the fact that, I can jack up some serious weight.
Right.
I'm weak as a fucking kitten, but with a goddamn slingshot on, it's a great training mechanism to take your bench to the next level. Hey, and also, I told you this, and I don't know if you tried this or you believe me, you can use that slingshot for standing military.
Yeah, you were telling me. Some overhead
give
work.
It a shot. I say, I'm reinventing the goddamn slingshot. I want my royalty, motherfucker.
There you go.
Hey, this is Mark Bell over here at 316 Gimmick Street. Anything you want to add?
I think that's it, man. It's always awesome being on your show. Thank you.
Always good to see you. I'm off to eat lunch at a business meeting, off to the CrossFit Games. I want to report.
All right,
everybody, give me the go home cue. It's time to wrap up this podcast and ride off in the sunset. But before I do that, I got to give you guys something to watch. Hey, time for my video of the week. This one is easy. Go to supertraining.tv. That's the best damn website for weightlifting, powerlifting, nutrition, general knowledge, all kinds of stuff, damn near on the internet. That's Mark Bell's site. You can listen to his Powercast podcast there. He talks to all kinds of cool-ass people, powerlifters, CrossFit, bodybuilders, the strongest people walking planet Earth. You can access his how-to videos to pick up all sorts of knowledge about lifting, powerlifting, CrossFit, rehabbing your muscles in your body, and just about anything else having to do with fitness and training. All right, while I'm plugging that supertraining.tv, let me plug a couple other things. You can find all my T-shirt designs at BrokenSkullRanch.com. Broken Skull IPA, the best IPA in the United States of America from El Segundo Brewing Company. Here in California, it's at Whole Foods and Total Wines. If you ain't got one of those, or if you live out of state, check out BrokenSkullRanch.com, click on a link, and you can get it shipped to your house. The Steve Austin Broken Skull Cold Steel Knife is available at BrokenSkullRanch.com. That's the baddest, coolest knife going, and everybody needs a pocket knife. Anything Steve Austin, you can find at BrokenSkullRanch.com. Hey, man, I'm looking forward to getting cranked up with the Broken Skull Challenge. We are right around the corner from rolling cameras. I'm busting my ass trying to get my ass in shape with this wing. The shoulders coming along, the biceps coming along. There's still a lot of atrophy in my pec and in my lat, but I'm doing the best I can to give you the best show on television, and that's coming up real soon on CMT. Hey, gang, I appreciate y'all supporting all the sponsors of this podcast because they're the ones who let me do this for you free twice a week. That's right, it's free. So big thanks to my man DDP Yoga. So big thanks to my man DDP and DDPyoga.com. Go to DDPyoga.com/Austin to get 20% off the DDP Yoga program and 3 months of full access to the DDP Yoga Now app. Big thanks to DraftKings. Go to DraftKings.com and use the promo code UNLEASHED to play for free with your first deposit. Big thanks to TrueCar and, of course, to Amazon. They've been supporting podcasts since day one. If you use my Amazon links whenever you're doing any online shopping, Amazon will kick back a couple of bucks to the podcast. This does not cost you anything extra. There are no hidden fees or charges. You can buy whatever you're planning on buying, and it helps out the podcast in the process. And you can find my Amazon links by going to PodcastOne.com, clicking on the Killer Deals button in the top right corner of the page, then hitting the Steve Austin Show button. I got Amazon links for Amazon USA, Amazon UK, and Amazon Canada. So, again, if you want to help us out and help us pay our production costs, just go to PodcastOne.com, click the Killer Deals button in the top right corner, then click on the Steve Austin Show. All of my sponsors are there. All of my Amazon links are there. If you bookmark it, you can find it in one step. Hey, one last shout out to the great state of Louisiana. Hang in there. God dang, I hope that rain stops, and I hope everybody gets their lives back. I feel for you. I'm thinking about you. Folks, keep listening. The 60-second AP News headlines are coming up next. And until then, my name is Steve Austin, and I will catch your ass down the road.
Download new episodes of Steve Austin Unleashed every Thursday at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.